Something good is going to happen. Something good is in store. We are together again. Just praising the Lord. One more time. We are together again. Just praising the Lord. Something good is going to happen. Something good is in store. We are together again. Just praising the Lord. We're going to sing, What a Mighty God We Serve. What a mighty God we serve.
You get up too late to pray and read your Bible. In spite of resolving to set the alarm earlier, it is taken from Galatians 6 and I bear his own burden. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. 10 and last, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Here ends a portion of God's holy word. We honor it by saying, Thanks be to God.
So we'll just be singing a prayer chorus and then we pray. Do you know this one? I say, yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way. All right, so we'll join in and singing. I say, yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way. I say, yes, Lord, yes, I will trust you and obey. When your spirit speaks to me, with my whole heart I agree, and my answer will be yes, Lord, yes. Please stand while we pray. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this opportunity that you've afforded us to be here, Lord. So long has it been that we've been able to gather in this face-to-face manner that we may be able to discuss the matters relating to our students. We invite your presence with us, dear God. I pray that you will help us to be organized, help us to achieve all the goals that we've set for this meeting. Please bless our leaders as we guide us through. Bless our parents, God, and our students as they go through this school year. Difficult though the times may have been, we know that you continue to give us opportunities that we may be accountable, dear God, that at the end of the day we can say that we've done our best and we can say, well done. Please continue, dear God, to guide us and protect us. Lead us, we pray, in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Wright and Ms. Lyons for conducting our devotion. What a wonderful way to start our meeting. Are you hearing me at the back? I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our parent-teachers meeting. It's a pleasure to see so many of us out today. I know our principal will be happy with the turnout of our parents today. Could be more, but we're happy that you're here and feel welcome. Today we have some very important matters to discuss relating to your child. It's almost to the end, and they will be doing their exit exams, and you'll be hearing some details as it relates to to that. Also, we'll be having the introduction of our form teachers later on, but for now we are going to hear from our principal who will bring message to us. Please welcome Mr. Wellington.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrison and Ms. Lyons and Ms. Wright for our devotions earlier. Parents, good afternoon. Alright, so Mr. Morrison said he knows that I'll be happy with the turnout. I'm happy for those of you who are here. We appreciate the fact that you made it your point of duty to be here, but obviously we still don't have half the number of parents that we have students in grade 11, so I don't think I'm that easily satisfied. But nonetheless, you are here, and we thank you very much for making the effort to be here. It is important that your presence be felt and that you send a message to your child that your presence and your interest in their development is important enough for you to have taken time from work or whatever other important business you may have had, and in some cases some persons not necessarily being able to find the fare to get here readily, but nonetheless took the responsibility of getting here. So we are streaming the meeting on YouTube, so those parents who are not here physically, they have the opportunity to hear the information that is being shared, and hopefully they will understand and appreciate the value of those of you who are here in person. And so those of you who could not make it for valid reasons, we understand, but we really want our parents to be here. This is the first time we're having a face-to-face meeting with you, I think, since your child would have been in grade 8, right? Yes, this is the first time that we have been able to have a face-to-face PTA meeting since your child is in grade 8. And this is also the first time that your child is likely to have a full year of school face-to-face since they were in grade 8. You recognize that? Yeah, man. So your child, well, not since they were in grade 8, since they were in grade 7. The last time your child was able to attend 1 year of school without interruption was when they were in grade 7. Just think about it, alright? So obviously, it is really significant that we are able to be here today and that your children came out to school last Monday, and there is all hope and confidence that they will be able to be in attendance for the entire year. But what a year it is likely to be. Grade 11, 5th form, possibly their final year of high school. Just let that sink in for a while. And I want it to sink in with you, and I want you to understand that there's going to be some serious discussions that you'll have to have with your children over the next, well, starting, if you have not already started, should have started already. If not, then starting now, there has to be some serious discussion with your children about various issues, some of which you'll hear today, some of which you have already heard about, some of which, if you're following the news, you will be fully aware of. Right? All of these discussions are really critical discussions. Most of your children are between 15 and 16 years old. That critical part of their life where they often think that they don't need you or they don't need us as teachers, but which in fact is the time when they need us most. So today, we are going to spend not too long, not too much time, hopefully by 3:30 we'll be finished, but we are going to spend the time wisely, sharing some critical pieces of information. So when I'm finished speaking, I won't come back unless I'm asked a question. So I'll just use the opportunity to do my part before handing over to the grade coordinators, teachers, and the vice principals. So, as I said before, your children, they are returning to school for a full year for the first time since they completed grade 7. And during this period, there are a number of activities that your children will be involved in that will be critical to their future and which you have a significant role to play. The most obvious one will be this issue of exams and the fact that these exams will have to be paid for in another 4 to 6 weeks. Then there's the issue of work experience, the issue of them completing their school-based assessment, the fact that many of them will need to go out on field trips because they did not get the opportunity in 9 and 10 grade where they were, for example, if they were doing practical areas, they never got the opportunity to be exposed if they're doing some of the sciences. For example, the biology students of each year, we take them to various sites to look at different things related to the science. All of these things will have to be done during the course of the next 8 months, not 1 year. So the first thing we need to understand is that your children don't have 1 year left in school. Right? By the end of April, we will be telling them don't come back to school unless you have an exam. You want to get that? At the end of April. As a matter of fact, at the end of April, some of them would have completed some of their exams already. If they're doing PE, if they're doing visual arts, if they're doing some of the practical subjects, they would have done some of their exams already by the end of April. So we are now in September, meaning only October, November, and December is left in the school year. That's 7 months plus what is left of September. So your children will basically have less than 8 months left in high school. And so we have to start getting that message through to them as soon as possible that there's absolutely no time at all to waste. Whether or not they're doing well now or they're not doing well now. If they are not doing well, it is even more important that they understand that weekends can't be for anything other than schoolwork. Right? So let us understand that, let us get to the point where we all accept that our children must be 100% focused over the next 7.5, 8.5 months as it relates to their exams. I can tell you that before the pandemic, the average pass rate for students at states for subjects was 85%, meaning that when we do our CXC exams, normally we have roughly 300 students at states, right? And each child, on average, a child has 8 subjects on their timetable. So right now, all of your children, they should be doing 8 subjects. That's another thing. Make sure you find out from them which 8 subjects they are doing. So all of them should be doing 8 subjects in classes now. When the time comes for them to pay for the subjects, we expect them to pay for all 8. We expect them to be registered for all 8. To be registered for all 8. Mrs. Holness will speak about what are some of the ones that you may not have to pay for. Right? But we expect them to be registered for all 8 subjects. Some of them won't get the chance to do all 8 subjects because they did not do well enough in grade 10 to suggest that they are ready, and their teachers are going to say to them that I'm not going to allow your parents or the government to waste the money to pay for those subjects. So we may not have every single one doing 8 subjects, but on average at states, our students do 7 or 8 subjects. So rarely do we have a student doing only 5 subjects. Right? It hardly ever happens. So your child must be prepared to do a minimum of 6 subjects. They are doing 8 now, but let us say for some reason or the other, they won't be able to get to do 2 now. But nobody is, if your child is saying that they are only doing 6 subjects, that means they wasted the 5 years at STETS. Less than 6 subjects. Is that clear? So you have to start with them now to say, let me see your timetable. What are the 8 subjects you are doing? Alright? Which of these 8 you think you are going to pass? And none of them should say less than 6. Is that clear? Nobody should say that they don't think they can pass less than 6. They can't pass 6 subjects. So that is where we need to start the discussion with them. Now, every subject requires students to do an SBA. I won't say much more on it, but they must do the SBA. This is so less than the teachers will speak about the SBAs. Another thing I want to speak about is the students respecting the school. Not students alone, students and parents respecting the school rules. When students don't respect the school rules, it causes us a waste of time. Not because teachers and principal and dean of discipline start paying too much attention to whatever breach there is. That is not the reason why there's a waste of time. But when students come to school showing off them new shoes, them brand new clocks, or them brand new this, or they're on the phone showing them TikTok videos, or them showing which one have the better hairstyle, it is a waste of time and it takes away from the focus of our children. It is not the fact that they are locked out at the gate or that the dean of discipline have them sitting and waiting. That is not what causes students to waste time. And so I am saying to you, we have a zero tolerance this year where our school rules are concerned and the breach of those rules. Make sure that your children are prepared to abide by the school rules. Ultimately, your children will have to accept that they are not free to do as they please. Nobody in this world is free to do as they please. So this thing about freedom of choice comes with responsibility. So when you're free to do something, it also means that you're responsible to do something or to behave in a particular way. And we're not going to have a long discussion on it, right? We already know what the rules are. I'm not saying that you can't talk and you can have your objections and you can make your suggestions. We welcome them, right? But if it is just about your one child and not about all of us as family members, then we don't want to hear the selfish opinions. Right? This is about a school community where we have 1,780 students, 150 workers, and we can't satisfy everybody's own whim and fancies. Right? Whatever we do, we must try our very best to make sure that everybody here is happy. And they can't be happy at somebody else's expense. So the school rules, we're begging you to get them to appreciate the value of the school rules. Right? So before we even talk about them obeying the rules, just try and have a discussion with them about what is the value of these rules. Why is it that you have to have those rules? Right? And then, because the truth is that our students are intelligent. So if we reason with them, they will understand. Those who are defiant are usually defiant because they think that they have the support of somebody important. And if they don't have the teacher's support and they don't have the parents' support, then there's nobody who is important that is supporting them. So if you as parents and we as teachers, we are both saying the same thing, them can ball blood about what them friends think it is not important. Right? We notice the ministry now all of a sudden understanding what we have been saying to them about school rules and the fact that these are the mini criminals, the people who don't understand that when a police says stop, even if you don't think you are doing something wrong, then you should stop. Stop and complain after. Right? Don't run and then the police foolishly shoot because they think you're doing something wrong. But after you're dead, nobody can help you. Stop, obey, and then you complain. So the school rules, we have to understand the value and try our very best to abide by them. The other thing I want to mention, your children are in grade 11 now. We have been asking for parent support contributions since your child came to States. I don't remember what it was when your child came in. It may have been $10,000, right? May have been $10,000. And I think it has now gone to $12,000. So school fee at States for your child for the 5 years that they have been here is $60,000 or less. So if you never pay anything at all from the day your child comes to States, obviously you would owe for things like the ID and the lab coat and whatever else. But the school fee would be less than $60,000. Parents will need that contribution. We need that contribution. Almost every single building, including those that are decked, are leaking now. And if you look at the walls, here you see the paint bubbling, it is because it is leaking. If you go to the computer lab, which has an asphalt roof, you see that it is leaking. Go to the classrooms, you see that it is leaking. You are blowing and fanning yourself because it is hot. Government is not going to give us money to remedy those problems. It is our parents who made the contribution to allow our school to have the resources that we have. So I am begging your parents, you have exams to pay for now. So I hope you would have already paid the school fees. The exam is a priority. The exam is a priority, so it must be paid for before anything else. Remember, it is not States that you pay the exam fees to or for. So if you don't pay the exam fee, the child can't do the exam. So I understand that the exams are a priority, so please make sure that you have that money put aside for the exam fees. If you owe school fees, as soon as you have paid for the exams or put aside the exam fees, start putting aside one little $2,000 or $3,000 to pay what you owe on your school fees. It is those same fees that will help us to, when your child needs to go on the field trip, that will help them to complete their SBAs. It is that same fees that will pay for gas to put in the bus. Right? And it is easier for everybody to make their contribution for school fees, and we charge $700 or $800 to go to Kingston, rather than every time your child go on the bus, they have to pay $1,500. So we're asking everybody to make the contribution where fees are concerned. I think those are the three main areas that I need to speak to. There are certainly more other critical areas that your form teachers and the vice principal will speak about, but those are the three areas that I wanted to speak on, and I just want to quickly remind you what those three areas are. 1, commitment to understanding and obeying the school rules. 2, preparation for exams and completion of all the exam-related work that they have to do, including the SBAs. And thirdly, parents making their financial contribution. So those three things are the critical things from me. I want to wish for you a very good afternoon. And I'm telling you from now, so the last 2 years, our exam results passed. I said before the pandemic, the overall pass rate was about 85%, which means that for every 10 subjects that were sat, so each year, at an average of 6 subjects per student, right? We had about 1,800 sit-ins. About 1,800 sit-ins of CXC, and we had close to 1,600 passes of the 1,800. Since the pandemic, for last year and this year, that average of 85% has fallen to 72%. Now, the class that just graduated, they have the excuse of saying that pandemic came when they were in grade 9 and they did not come back to school until January of grade 11. You don't have that excuse, or your children don't have that excuse. they have been back in face-to-face classes from January of grade 10. So they have really lost only 4 months of the grade 10 and 11 year. Still critical, but they have enough time to catch up. So we expect that this batch of students will have our average going back up. So even if we don't get back to 85%, certainly can be in the 70s. So we expect your children to be that group of students who leads the rebound out of the pandemic. Remember as well, I said 3 things I needed to upset the 4th thing, which is the fact that the government is saying that all students are expected to spend 7 years in high school. Everybody know that, right? Everybody would have heard that? That the government is saying that all students are expected to spend 7 years in high school. So you can spend 7 years at STETS, or your child is allowed to spend 7 years of STETS if they pass 5 or more subjects. And if their behavior is in keeping with the school rules. So if your children pass only 1 subject or 2 subjects or 3 subjects, the likelihood is that they will have to go to another school to do those 2 years. We have only 240 spaces between lower 6 and upper 6. If we were to take back everybody, we would need 630 spaces. So your child is fighting for 240 space out of 630 space. And by the way, that is how the world runs. When they finish college and apply for a job, they're going to be applying for 1 job that 50 persons want. So it is no different between them finishing 5th form and trying to get back to STETS and them finishing college and trying to get a job. So just remind them that they don't have time to waste because they're coming back to STETS next year. It won't happen like that. All right? Thank you very much, everyone. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Wellington. I want to extend welcome to those persons who came in after the welcome was done. And also we want to ask those persons who are sitting on the ledge to join us in the audience. There are extra seats here for you so that you can be comfortable. So please sit amongst the audience. If you have a seat beside you, you can just raise your hand so that they can find them very easy. Now we have our Vice Principal, Mrs. Holness, who will be coming to us now at this time. Please welcome Mrs. Holness.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Good afternoon, parents and guardians. It's always a pleasure to welcome you all here. And we are so happy to have you. It's good that we can start the school year in this fashion, and we have to give thanks, all right? Before I get into what I really need to speak to you on, I'd just like to commend the PTA for their initiative in providing fruits for the students, all right? So today they started selling fruits to the students and staff, and we really, really want to commend Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Robinson for coming out and doing that today. I'd also like, forgive me, but I need to single out some parents. Before I single them out, we must say thank you so very much for those parents who contributed to our 60th anniversary. Some persons gave vegetables, all kind of stuff. Some persons attended, so we really, really want to thank you. There is a relationship between parental support, parental involvement, and student performance. Did you know that, parents? If you're not involved in your child's life, if you're not interested in what is happening in their lives, then they will not feel as if it's worthwhile to even try. And so it's very, very important that you stay close to your child, and you have been working with us over the years, and we expect you to work at even this last stage. And so I'd like to really single out two parents that I can see here today. Mrs. Williams, she is a parent who has been involved with her child from grade 7. And guess what? Her child graduated in June, and she's back, and her child is not here for 6th form. She's back to give her service. Can you give her a hand for me, please? Mrs. Williams. All right, and guess what, parents? Her child did exceptionally well at her CSEC subjects. All right? Now, I'm seeing also in the audience Mr. and Mrs. Evans. Could you stand for me, please? Never a time we reach out to these, we reach out for help and they refuse. They give and they give. When we had our 60th anniversary, the amount of stuff they brought into the office, I said, oh my Lord. I mean, a sack full of Irish potato and carrots and everything, sweet potato and all that, right? So really, really thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Evans and all the other parents who gave. Great. All right, so Mr. Wellington's reminding me that when the pandemic just started and many students were, many parents, many homes were in need of help, some students were identified, and Mr. and Mrs. Evans were the first two parents who gave from their farm for that effort. Can they get following? Right? And they have one son who graduated many years, and they have a son now in grade 11. So don't stop giving, all right? Give, and the more you give is the more you will get. You agree? All right, great. All right. So my task this afternoon is to speak to you on the exam. Now, when your child starts in the grade 7, all that you are thinking of is when the child is grade 11, CXC, right? All you are thinking about is that. So this is the time now for that. So right now we have not yet received the fees for CXC in May, June, but we have the fees for the January sittings. So I could give that to you so that you have an idea of maybe how much it will cost. It might not be the same, but you could have a general idea, okay? So when I'm through, I'll give you that. But before I speak on the fees, Mr. Wellington touched on SBAs. Parents, without SBAs, your child will not have a chance of getting a grade. As a matter of fact, if the SBAs are not done, it's automatically ungraded. So it does not make sense. And all subjects except Spanish right now, all subjects except Spanish carry the SBA component. So the SBAs must be done. So parents, do not let your child tell you they don't have any SBAs. All students will have maybe the most they'll have is 8 if they're including Spanish, if not is 7. Alright? So SBAs must be done, and they must be done by your child. It's not for you to pay for somebody else to do it for your child. That is not helping your child to do well. It's dishonest, and it's not helping your child to take responsibility for his or her own work. When they leave and go to college or university, they will have that same attitude, and it will not get them very far. So, some SBAs would have started from last school year in grade 10. So if your child has not yet started one SBA, then something is wrong. Because I know, for the sciences especially, SBA started from last year, grade 10. So if your child is doing biology, chemistry, physics, integrated science, HSB, the child would have had some workbook and labs, filling up with labs now, right? Filling up with labs. So if your child is doing those subjects, make sure when you go home this afternoon, where is your lab book? Because they must have a lab book and working out the labs in the lab books, all right? So for industrial tech, for math, English, all subjects carry SBA. When they do their SBAs and they do well, they are guaranteed a pass. If they're going to the exam and don't do anything, they won't pass. But at least they have a little cushion because they have their SBAs already. You understand, parents? All right. So the SBA, we cannot emphasize the SBA enough for you to understand the importance of your child doing the SBA. Now, year after year, the ministry gives subsidies for CSEC and CAPE. So we are assuming that that will continue for this year. So for the ministry, your child, former years, they had like a 50% in grade 10. If they gain 50% and over, they can get subsidy for math, English A or English B, a science subject, and infotech or EDPM, okay? So that's 4. So if your child is doing, and those are compulsory subjects anyway. 3 of them are compulsory, math, English, and IT or EDPM. But your child must score at least 50 and over in grade 10, the last exam in grade 10. NCB gives subsidy too for POA and POB. I think there might have been a little change last year, but I'm not sure how it will go this year. But for POA and POB, NCB will give that. They usually do, and also IT. But for NCB, you have to score at least, I think it's 70% for NCB. So a child can get subsidy for NCB, POA and POB and IT for a minimum of 70%. JPS will also give subsidy for electrical. I won't quote the percentage, but it's about 50. I think last year it was 60%, all right? So right away you can get your child, if a child is doing math, English, IT or EDPM, biology, any of the sciences, agri is counted as a science, one of them, and the child is doing POA and POB, you see how many subsidies you can get from that? As long as the child has performed up to standard. Alright? So we will do the calculations and we will send that information home to you so that you will know. So don't let your children fool you and tell you how much you're going to pay. When the time comes, we are going to do the calculations for you. You're going to have to pay a minimum of about $500, about that. And you will get the slip to pay, the form, so that you can pay the fees, all right? So sometime in October, mid-October, towards the end of October, we'll have those forms ready for you. Towards the end of October, we'll have those forms ready for you. And as soon as you can start the payment, you pay parents and let your child take back in the form to us. It's important that we get those forms back year after year, students get the forms, make the payment, and leave the payment at home. And then somewhere down the line, when we are doing our double checks, we realize that, hey, this child is missing. So that form must be returned to us at the office so that we can do the necessary entries. If you are having financial problems and you cannot afford to pay for your child's exam fees, please let us know and let us know early. You must do what you can do, and if you're falling short or if you're in dire need, please let us know so we can see where we can assist. Don't tell your child, as long as your child is recommended to do a certain number of subjects, don't say to your child, you cannot do X, Y, Z because I don't have the money. Don't do that. Come in and have word with us so that we can see how best we can facilitate you. Alright? So never tell your child that he or she cannot or will not do a subject because you cannot afford it. Parents, we are working with you, we are working in partnership with you, and so we want to ensure that your child gets the best opportunity so he or she can move on in life. Alright? I hope we're very, very clear on that. Alright? So I guess that's it for now in terms of the exams. All your job is to do right now, parents, is to monitor your child's progress at home, ensure they have all their supplies, they are here on time, with the right things at the right time, monitor their progress. I'm sure that you will be proud of them at the end. Just one other thing. We have noticed, parents, that we had quite a bit of this last year in terms of some students taking illegal drugs, and we are seeing that happening still. And so parents, we want you to be aware of what is happening outside there and the influence it can have on your child. Alright? So please ensure that you are vigilant and that you know what is happening to your child. Now, we have a theme for this year, accountability, and we ask all our members of staff and students to give a good account of themselves. As parents, we ask you to do the same. Remember, your child is not on his or her own. Your child belongs to somebody. Your child belongs to you. And so, whereas they must give a good account of themselves to us and to you, as parents, you have to make sure that you're giving a good account of yourselves as parents and guardians, all right? You must do the best that you can as parents to provide the best environment for your child so that he or she will do his or her best. Alright? So, parents, we thank you for coming again, and we look forward to seeing your child finish grade 11 and finish strong. Alright? So, we have, before I end, we have 2 members of staff here who are parents. Miss Fuller, yes, and Mrs. Martin. Right, can you give them a hand for me, please? Special welcome to them, all right? Okay, so parents, as I said before, we want to finish strong. We want your child to finish strong. We want your child to be successful and to be the best that he or she can be and what God intended them to be, all right? So God bless you and thank you very much. All right, parents, we're working together as a team. Thank you very much. Now, we have with us here this afternoon grade coordinator for grade 11, Mr. Sanchez Morrison. the moderator, and we have Miss Swavey, she's the other grade coordinator, grade 7. So I'm sure you have your groups, and they are in the groups, all right? So I will now introduce the form teachers for you, and as I call their names, they're going to stand. So we have Mrs. Warburton in grade 11A, Miss Powell 11B, 11C, Mr. Foley. He was here earlier on, he had a class. Mrs. Tyndale 11D, Miss Lyons held devotion a while ago 11E. Mr. Gale, I'm not sure if Mr. Gale is in here. Mr. Gale? No. Where? Mr. Gale? Oh, right there. That's Mr. Gale, 11F. Thank you. Mr. Adams is he here? Mr. Adams? No. All right. Mr. Price, 11H. All right. And Miss P. Wright, 11I. All right. Great. So we have our teachers and our form teachers, and we have block monitor, Miss K. Senior, for grade 11. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Ms. Holness. Can you give Ms. Holness another round of applause?
Sorry, parents, I promised you some fees, right? Yes. Right, so for the January sitting, we have, for entry fee is 5,210, and per subject is 4,135. For the June sitting is going to be around the same cost, all right? Plus there will be other fees attached, other fees. So we have entry fee, 5,210. Everybody must pay the entry fee, and per subject, 4,135. This is just an estimate, all right, per subject. Plus there will be other fees, SBA-related fees and practical fees, all right? So I'm just giving you an idea, so you can maybe start counting up how many goats you will have to sell, or how many pigs and how many cows, all right? Thank you.
That's Mrs. Holness for you. She has a lot of humor. At the end of the day, some people will pay little to nothing, while others will have to pay a hefty fine. So let's hope for the best. At this time we have coming to us Mrs. Cole, one of the Dean of Discipline, will be speaking to us. She's a part of the team. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. And this is a disciplinary committee, and my name is Mrs. Faith Libicole, and I am a member of the disciplinary committee, which comprises of myself, Miss Borry, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Morrison, Miss Kay Beck Foster from Guidance, Mr. Marvin James from ED. So the theme for the school year is accountability. And accountability means taking ownership of your actions, not making excuses, and bearing any consequences that result from your decision. And that is what we want from your ward or your child for this year, accountability. An accountable person knows how to respond in different situations. He thinks about the consequences, the short and long-term consequences of his action. Accountability is related to discipline. One definition of discipline is drawn from the Hebrew word, which means correction and exhortation. And when it is applied to children, it involves instruction, education, and correction. True discipline is not motivated by anger or frustration, but by love and a desire to see the one being disciplined make positive changes. And that is what we are doing. That is our focus for this year. Our approach to discipline is trying to instill values and attitudes in our students to help them to be motivated from within to comply with school rules. So we don't want to be having a big stick over their back and they are threatened or forced. We want them to be inclined from a heart that sees the value of obeying. We intend to work closely with form teachers and year supervisors, and we have formulated a plan of action which will give form teachers the necessary guidelines to help to change the thinking of our students. Our focus is going to be taking care of the environment, developing pride in the school community, proper social media etiquette and security, being mindful of their digital footprint, avoiding drug and alcohol use, adhering to the school's dress code policy, and being prepared for examinations. Since the beginning of the school year, we have seen some of the weak areas. We have seen non-compliance with shoes. For the, some of you, well, there's a new policy. They are no longer allowed to wear suede shoes. So some of them have bought suede shoes, but it is no longer allowed. It's part of the new school policy. We have had
just correcting you that it is not new. It wasn't existing, we are just enforcing it. And you may say, why not suede? The suede, what they do with the suede, right, in order to keep it clean. Well, first of all, those who wear suede think that the shoes is the most important part of their life. So like rainy season now, they walk with plastic bag, or they can't leave until the rain run off. But what is even more detrimental to us? The patching and the polishing of the shoes. So if you go into the bathroom, and you see the place black, with the tire and all kind of something that they use to keep it, right? So usually those are the cartel idols, right? And cartel is in prison, so I don't think he's allowed to wear shoes. He's in prison because I'm shoes with them teeth.
all right, and also we have noticed a problem with the bales and the pants. They take it to the tailor and it's very tight and sometimes they cannot even bend. I had an incident with a student. Something fell from me and he could not bend to pick it up. I had to pick it up and I smiled and I said, you can't be a ladies' gentleman in a pair of pants like that. So that's another problem. And the haircut also, they need to adhere to the haircut guidelines. This is the book that you need to go through with your students, with your ward or your son or daughter. Pages 12 and 13 will give you details about dress and grooming. All right, so we want our students to be leaders, not followers. We want to change the culture. We want to build rapport with the student body to help them to become responsible young people. And we aim to work with all the stakeholders, the students, ancillary staff, administrative staff, academic staff, and you, the parents, to change the whole tone of the school. We want this, you as parents to come to the school as often as you need to come. If you need to come once a week, then you can do so. If you don't need to come, and you need to come like maybe once per term, please do so. We don't want you to come and then be shocked and say, I didn't know my child had a problem. It's the first I'm hearing about it. We want to keep in touch with you so that you're not shocked. This is a very important year for your student, your child. This is a crossroad year, as Mr. Wellington spoke about. This is the year when they decide what will happen next. Will they be able to come back to sixth form, go to a training center, go to college, university, or enter the working world? And all of this depends on their result, and their result is dependent on their attitude to discipline. Normally, students who are in discipline don't achieve academically. It's really very, very rarely that you have an indisciplined student who does well. So we want to encourage you to help your child to have inner discipline, and then it will come on the outside. So we look forward as a team to working with you to achieve the best for your child, because we love them and we want them to achieve what is best. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. All right, we're coming down quickly. We have a presentation from the PTA representative at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the name is, since I wasn't being introduced, I am Roxanne Green. I am a parent of a grade 11 student. Back in December of 2021, Mr. Wellington suggested that we had representatives from the different groups. In May of 2022, we met.
Hold the mic closer.
Okay, is this better? All right, awesome. So in May of 2022, we met as an executive body, and so we had different persons appointed on the PTA body. Of course, I must add that for grade 11, a determination will be made here this afternoon for 2 representatives, whether you want me to go and you have 2 new faces, or you're going to add an additional person. So I will introduce you to our executive body. On screen we have Nalisha Brown-Wint. She is our president. She sits on the board as the PTA representative, and she's also the vice chairman of the STEPS board. She was selected as a grade 7 parent representative. Currently, she has 2 daughters in grade 8. Safrina Lynch-Coble is our vice president. She was selected as a grade 9 parent representative. Currently, her child is in grade 10. Lilith Williams, she's our public relations officer. She stood earlier for a recognition. She was selected as grade 11 parent representative for last year.
Stand to the left side.
Her child is no longer here, but of course, she's a woman of service, and so she still serves on the executive team. And that's yours truly, Roxanne Green. I'm the secretary for the PTA. We have Marianne Hutchinson Miller, treasurer. She was selected as a grade 8 rep last year. She currently has her child in grade 9. Michelle Robinson, selected as grade 7 parent rep. Currently, her child is in grade 8. Ann Daly Rogers, selected as a grade 11 parent. Her child is now in 6th form. And we have 1 male on our team who is Mr. Orette Williams. He was selected as a grade 8 parent rep. Child is now in grade 9. For the executive members, just a quick summary. Nalisha Brown-Wint, president. Lynch Cogle, vice president. Lily Williams, public relations officer. Marianne Hutchinson Miller, treasurer. Roxanne Green, secretary. And those are the persons who are currently in an exec role. So we have some teachers who are working with the PT at this time. Mrs. Faith Martin, Mr. Sanjay Morrison, Mrs. Arlene Webb, Mrs. Michelle Scott, Ms. Denise Elliott, Mr. Ira Clark, and Mrs. Drummond. PTA structure. The executive consists of at least 1 person from each year group, ideally 2. We meet once per month, alternating between face-to-face and online. And we will meet with the general PTA body at least once per term. Of course, we liaison with the STEPS administration and the teachers to plan programs. Overview of activities of PTA 2021-2022. We have Teachers' Day activities, STEPS Reunion Week, and for graduation, we were part of that. We also participated in the STEPS summer program. We had our book sale, which was a success, I must add. And we have bumper stickers, and I need to sell these 12 before I leave here today. It says that I'm a proud STEPS parent, and it's just for $300 Jamaican dollars. So please ensure that you see this lady here just before you leave, so that you get your STEPS bumper sticker. Of course, I must add that we're planning to do some additional stickers as well. Since we're in the D-Cup season, so it will say the STETS supporter instead of parent, and we will seek your assistance in having these sold. We, of course, participated. We sponsored 2 children, full coverage as well. Fruits Day was today, and I got a report that that was a success as well. This is a true indication of us being little but Talawa. We're small in numbers, but we're definitely making a mark. And then we have Parents' Day that's coming up, and we'll be hearing more about Parents' Day. We'll be sending out surveys, kind of ensure that you participate as we seek to have a vibrant PTA here at STETS. Teachers' Day activities, we raised a total of $32,000 through parents' contribution. We participated in devotional activities, presented certificates of appreciation to all teachers, and all teachers were treated to a delicious smoothie. All right, thank you very much. My colleague here was just advising me that we're soliciting fruits as well to assist in our Fruits Day, and Mr. Wellington and the administration was kind enough to give us Thursdays to have Fruits Day, so this will be an ongoing initiative. So all the farmers out of Senti, Bread Basket of Jamaica, we're looking for, I'm from Montego Bay, guys, so I don't have much, but I'm looking forward to persons to prepare, present, and provide, right? 3 Ps. So we want persons to provide, we want persons to help in preparing, and also to assist in presenting. That's the sale of our fruits. For the reunion, we participated in all activities. As I said, Little But Talawa assisted with the sale of banquet tickets, sponsored and ancillary staff to attend the banquet. 15 parents gave presentations of value and attitude to students on Stakeholders Day, and we also assisted with organizing Graduation 2021. For the STET Summer Program, full support from our team. 2 members of our PTA executive body sat on the planning committee, and a member of the exec, that is Mrs. Robinson, delivered a course on leadership. For our book sale, we collected 107 used or new books from parents, mainly from grades 7 and 8. We sold 95 and returned 12. We collected and handed over $170,000. There's a sad note, but we would have learned from this experience. Only 1 parent donated $1,000 and a book worth $1,500 to the PTA for its efforts. I can tell you that we are not no other buttons for you. The next year for selling your books, you will have to give us a commission, because we are all trying to ensure that we are getting funds to ensure that when we are having activities, we don't come begging, because we don't like to beg, we are workers, but we want everybody to be a part of that as well. Our sponsorship program, funds were raised to sponsor the school fee of 2 students who are in need of financial support. Students were identified in collaboration with our guidance department. Students selected were from grades 8 and 10, 1 female and 1 male. Bumper sticker. I can't go back to Montego Bay because I don't know a lot of parents in Mobay who will buy these from me, so I must get rid of these 12 bumper stickers by right now, Curry. I'm not taking up the time, just excuse me, but I have to make use of this time to ensure that I sell my 12 bumper stickers. Come on, guys. If I don't have a car, put it on your handbag. If I don't have a handbag, put it on your Bible. If I don't have a Bible, put it on something that you learn, so that you are reminded of why it is that you love STETS so much. And of course, as I said before, when we go to the proud STETS supporter, You know, we are targeting our D-Cup fans, and so we will need their help in having these sold. So I mentioned the fruits day earlier, and I hope you are listening. And if you don't have a sticker, you can still give her $300 so we can order enough of the supporter stickers, and we will have much more to sell. So if you don't get a sticker, you want to give her money, still give it to her, and we will hand it over to our treasury. Fruits day, the aim is to raise funds and also to satisfy the nutritional need of our children. So fruits are sold on a Thursday at a very minimal cost. Please support by donating fruits and encouraging your children to purchase. And remember the 3 P's. The one person is to provide, help to prepare, and to present. Upcoming events, Parents' Day 2022. We are also working closely with the guidance department, and we have a series of activities planned for November. I did mention the survey earlier that will be done to ascertain the type of parenting support that's needed. We also intend to have a weekly Zoom presentation, and we will have that culminating Parent Day at the end of November. At the end of my presentation, it says, support your PTA. Stronger PTAs make better schools. Have a great afternoon.
All right, give Ms. Green another round of applause. Very strong representative. Very strong. And no, we want to, I don't think we would want to change. Say that again? Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, parents. All right, just to give you an idea of what the jersey looks like, the supporters jersey for this year. So if you're interested, just a small cost of $4,500. Thank you.
Little bit of money, man. Don't bother complaining about that. So we are to select, ladies and gentlemen, we're to select an additional representative at the grade 11 group. No, I don't think we want to change Ms. Green from that post, so we want to nominate someone else to sit with her. We have one more thing on our agenda today, which is the question and answer, and then we can go home. But we want to nominate a representative at the grade 11, group in order to represent us on the PTA body. Any nominees? Can just say, I beg to nominate. Yes, Ms. Green? Mr. Evans? He declines. Any other nominee? You can nominate yourself, you know. Or Ms. Green would have to just pull in someone. Yeah. No, you're not a parent. Miss Karen, yes, please stand for me. Yes. Yes, Miss Karen. It falls in your lap. I don't think you want to decline this one. It's a privilege and an opportunity to serve. The reward for good work is more work. Okay, accepted. Any other? All right, so at some point, yes, Miss Warburton? Miss Blossom? Yes, oh Lord, yes, Miss Blossom. Can you stand for me, Miss Blossom? Let's see the hands voting for Miss Blossom. Everybody, okay. Miss Blossom is our representative. Now at this time, we are going to be having question and answer. Our able principal is here to answer most of our questions. I must say that we're going to keep this as short as possible in order for us to leave here at 3:30 and before the rain comes. So we're going to start, and before I start, I want to take this opportunity to apologize for the late post of the message in the group. But, however, the message was being sent verbally by our form teachers, or able form teachers, to you, our parents, about, Mr. Wellington had posted as well, he said. Yes. So, question and answer. Questions?
And before we get to question and answers, I want to thank Mr. Morrison, although his job is not yet done, and to comment, we have two persons I want to make special mention of. Your PTA President, who was also nominated as the Vice Chairman of the school board, which I think you should give her a hand for, unless she's not here. She was also recently promoted to the Chief Public Health Inspector in charge of St. Elizabeth. So we are proud of her. We have more than one reason to be proud of her. She's also a past student, so we have to be proud of her. And we want to commend Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison has been selected to go to France in another few weeks to participate in International World Skills, where he will be the representative for Jamaica for building technology. For drywall and plastering, right? So he will take not some state students, some other Jamaican students there for to display their skills, right? So excellence all around. So commendations to Mr. Morrison. Alright, so he will be away for 10 days. If there's anybody here who speaks French, you may get to accompany him. Alright. Alright, so is there anything that we have not mentioned that you would have expected us to speak about, or anything you want clarification on?
Yeah, okay.
Good evening again, parents. Good evening, members of staff. Sir, my concern is about evening classes. I want to know if there will be evening classes offered for C6 students, what subjects and costs, etc.
All right, so Mrs. Wallace is not here, but yes, the official evening school. So at States we have an official evening school where persons are able to attend, not just our students, but adults, students from other schools and so on, right? So we have, that starts on Monday, registration is taking place now. I think we are able to offer any subject where we have enough students wanting to do it. So certainly maths and English, the science subjects. There's a flyer. I'm going to ask Mr. Morrison to post it in the group. So on the flyer we have maths, English, social studies, geography, human and social biology, chemistry, physics, integrated science, POB, accounts, office admin, Spanish and biology. That's what we have on the list, but if there are other subjects that we have enough persons for, we're willing to do it. The fees for evening school is Registration and ID is $1,000. And where's the fee? Where's the fee? Oh, for the year, the cost per subject is $12,000. If you are doing 3 subjects, $11,000 each. And I guess if you are a state student, you can speak with Mrs. Wallace because this is for everybody. Right? So if the child is a state student, then speak to Mrs. Wallace about the cost. Right? But this is for everybody. The 6,000 if it's a state student. Also, if the child is a state student, then outside of that, we have teachers who sometimes have classes on a Saturday. So just ask your child to speak with their subject teacher to find out if they are going to have any other extra classes. All right? All right, any other questions?
Good afternoon, parents. I am Miss Powell. I am a grade class and 5 or less have the book. The practice is necessary. That is why they are paid. So the book must be bought. The books. One is multiple choice. One is that your child should buy. I have planned to answer questions. Get the books, please. We're trying our best. Some of us have WhatsApp groups that we try to post the notes so they write it before class because we know with it. Then in class we teach. We realize the students are not doing as much as they should do. We're trying our best to improve the grades. Buy the books so they can get the practice.
Good afternoon, parents and teachers. Just as you have mentioned about the books, I have visited all the stores in Sam and find it anywhere. So I am not sure if it's here at the school or if it is anywhere in Santa Cruz. Miss.
I know some students got the book at Andrews. And the bookman went to South yesterday, so I'm not sure if he delivered some books. Right beside the library in Santa Cruz.
My other question is asked about the evening class, if there's a payment plan for the fees.
Yes, for the payment for the evening school, speak to Mrs. Soles about a payment plan for the fee for the evening school. What we know though is that you must finish paying for it by January. All right. As it relates to the books, so check the math. The first year I came to States, I taught maths. Right. I was for the first year and never wanted to teach it after. Because the students refuse to do extra work, and maths is the weakest subject at States. Weakest by far. Right? And one of the reasons that I have identified is that State students depend heavily on their teachers. Heavily. If teacher don't give them no work, they don't do no work. Right? They depend heavily. So we have students from Monroe, Hampton and Manchester coming here for evening school and coming to our teachers for extra classes, and our students go home. If our teachers don't go to class, the students don't learn nothing for the whole year. With maths it can't work like that. You have to do work on your own. You can't study for a maths test. You can't study for a maths exam. You have to practice, and you can't practice the night before only. Right? Maths is one of those subjects. Just think about it. If you are going to do a maths exam and you forget what you learned in grade 1, you can't pass it. Just think about it. I can't do a chemistry exam or a physics exam or a geo exam and pass it just based on what I did in grade 10 or grade 11. With maths, if you forgot what you learned in grade 1, you cannot pass the maths exam. You can't pass the exam because In grade 1, you learn to count and add 1 and 1. There's no maths exam you can do where you can pass the exam without being able to count or to add and subtract. And maths is like that. Maths is a concept-based subject where you build on previously learned concepts. So if you don't practice maths, you can't pass maths. So we are begging you, the teacher can't teach, the maths teacher can't go to class today and go back over what they teach last month and 2 months ago every single time. It can't work. So it is the students who have to learn something today and keep practicing it for the next 3 months so that they don't forget how to do it. If it's an English class or a history class or a geography class, and you know about to revise, but 6 months time you have an exam, you take up at the book and you revise and you pass. It can't work so for maths. So the children must practice maths. Must. And you can only practice it if you have the resources. So the books you are being asked to get, right? It is to allow them to work on their own, to solidify what the teacher is teaching them, and to make sure that when exam time comes, they're not trying to go back and practice what was taught in grade 1. And it is literally true. If you forget what you learned in grade 1 in maths, you cannot pass any maths exam. Alright? So try and encourage them. And maths is one of those subject areas where students need to do well in. Alright? So after you have a big note. Volume 2, the volume 2. How did it go with the volume 2 now? Boom. Okay. So they have to take back the volume 1 and collect a volume 2. Well, they should have taken it back already. Huh? Okay, alright, so again, how the system works, right? I am in grade 7 now. I get a book, right? The grade 8 students get a book, grade 9 and so on. When I am going to grade 8, I need to take back my book so that the new students get that book. And the grade 8 student needs to get their book so that who is going to grade 8 will get a book, right? So for right now, we have another book just graduated. So now that they are coming back to 6th form and they will be collecting their 6th results, we are hoping to collect back all of those books so that your student who is in grade 11 will be able to get the book too. Alright? Alright, any other question or questions? Or questions? Alright, Mrs. Drummond would like to make an announcement.
Alright, good afternoon, parents. So I am Mrs. Drummond, one of the teachers here. I will be having extra class with the students. Should I say extra class? Well, our extra class that we have as biology teachers is not to review, so it's different from the extra class that the school will be putting on, because those teachers will be moving from the beginning of the syllabus, hopefully to the end. What I will be doing is starting at the back of the syllabus so that I can finish the syllabus together. So when I start at the back, by the time we get to January, February, or March, we should meet up with what we're doing within the school year so that once we're done with the syllabus, we start to recap with the students. This class, I normally have it on a Monday, but this year they're having Spanish, so it will be on a Tuesday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock so that it does not impede on the evening school. There's a minimal cost, sir, don't charge me. There's a minimal cost of $300. Only $300 for the biology, for the 1 hour. Please ensure that your children come, because sometimes when we stop for the classes, out of a class of 30 students, we only see 2, 3, or 4. Just like Sir said, they don't come, even when we sacrifice our time. So I'm going to ask you parents, please, to let them come to the class. And before I take your hand, just to talk about the summer school, I must tell you thank you for sending out your children to the summer school. Most of those who came to the various sessions, they enjoyed them. We talked about different topics. When we had our talk-up session, we talked about human sexuality. Some of them learned plumbing that they would not normally do. Some of them learned nail care, makeup, robotics. Most of them liked the robotics class and the computer animations class. And so, however, I was disappointed with the amount of them that signed up to take the exam so that they could be certified. A lot of them did not accept the application because they did not want to do the exam. But we're hoping that next summer, because some of you, your children will be coming back to sixth form, especially those who probably want leadership positions. We are expecting to see them at the summer school once they want to come back to the sixth form program, so that they can learn and they can garner skills that are necessary for them to make it out there in the world. Remember, the math, the English, this, that's not the only thing that they need. Every child must learn a skill because it is critical for them to make it out there. So,
I just wanted to add something with the summer school. So the summer school was free for everybody. We tried to avoid maths and English and so on we're trying to teach. The main reason we had the summer school was because of what we found during this course of the year in terms of students' behavior, their attitude to work and so on, and some of the pressures they were seeing. And we felt that we didn't want the students to go back home for 2 months, stay at home. In many cases, some of your children are at home and under stress, right? They're having problems at home, different type of issues, and we felt that if we send them home for 2 months, they're going to come back to us with some of the same problems we were having, and we didn't want to start over this September. I have to mention one special case, right? I see a principal in the room that wants to say something. He's a parent today. I have to mention one special case. We have a student, right, who attempted suicide about 3 times during the school year. And he came to summer school. And Ms. Joman was telling me how he behaved and how he found a friend that, when you saw that student during the time in school last year, you never saw a smile on his face. And I've seen him 2 or 3 times already. Hey, Mr. Wellington, how are you? And just a total different demeanor. I am so happy that it is in one line. Summer school here, right? So we really want your students to participate. It's a similar thing that we're doing with co-curricular activities. So we have, we used to have one evening that they leave late because of clubs, right? But they were not taking it up. They're not involving themselves in those activities. So what we did this year, we took away 1 hour out of the school time. So we reduced the teaching time for 2 subjects by half an hour each, and we now have co-curricular activities during the day. So for grades 10 and 11, it is on a Tuesday from 11:30 in the day to 12:30. We're asking you to make sure your children participate in those activities. Those don't have anything to do with maths and English and Spanish and chemistry. It has to do with personality development, trying to get them to focus on a particular skill set that they may like and may eventually help them to be better persons, right? So just make sure that your grade, it will be on your report. So the teachers are going to actually mark registers to say what the children are involved in, which extracurricular activity, and they won't get 70 or 80%, they'll get an A or a B or a C or DRE to say that they are attending and they are participating, right? But we really want to focus this year. We want them to we want to get better results, academic results, right? We really want, but we have a bigger problem. If you notice the amount of discussions you hear and we know about Mali and about sexual offenses and about, these are the things that we're trying to make sure that it does not become a problem for us, right? And you can't necessarily do it by just going to class and teaching maths and English and chemistry and physics. right? We actually have to do other things to help them, and we have to do it together, right? We have to do it together as parents and teachers. All right? Two hands were up, one and then Mr. No, I think her hand was up and then Mr. Miller and then you, right?
It's a question for the extra classes. I'm asking if biology is for PNS or it's just straight biology?
Straight biology.
Straight bio. Alright, so the extra class for the straight bio. HS bio people no problems.
Thank you, Mr. Principal. On the same question of the biology class, I was wondering if I'm hearing correctly that the students who attended that extra class for that hour would be doing the syllabus from back to front.
Yes.
I'm just wondering about a student who does not take up that offer, what provision is made for him or her in that case.
That is a very good question. Now, most times, the biology syllabus is so long, by the time we get around to the exam, we can't get to the end of the syllabus. So, if the student does not come, it's really not our fault if they don't get that learning, because we don't have the time to get there. We don't have the time. So it's up to the student to decide.
I know what we're doing. I know what we're doing and what we're doing is good. But we have a problem with what we're doing. But I'm overly concerned for the student. We may not be able to attend. I don't know whether or not, due to the length of the syllabus, whether some profession will be online for any group of students, whether it's like notes or otherwise. But I'm thinking that if a part of the student does not get a chance to complete the syllabus, then they stand at a disadvantage as well. So,
that is why they have the school has the evening school. That's why the school has that.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is something a bit different from the subject areas. It's about the football, especially the girls' football. My daughter plays football, and sometimes going far out, I'm really concerned about them. It's either that they have a camp in here where they stay, but to be honest, I don't like having her on the road too late.
All right, thank you. So I don't see that Mr. Gill was here earlier, or Ms. Bryant. All right, so for the girls, right? I understand your concern, and it's a valid concern because sometimes they go out of parish, right? And the same concern you have about having them on the road is the same concern we have about having them here. Because we have to make sure that they are properly supervised while they are here. But if it is necessary, we will either keep them, inform the parents, get the permission and keep them, or we make sure that they are taken directly home. So we don't send them home if it's late, right? If the hours are extraordinary. So if your child, for example, lives in Malvern, I will come back from a game at 6:30, we're not going to tell her to wait on a taxi, right? We take her to Malvern, all right? Any other questions?
Not a question, sir, but to add to the matter you touched on earlier on about parents and concern about their children and so on, I just want to use this opportunity from the PTA exec body to say the PTA Parent Day that will be coming up in November. We may not see you again before then, so we want to implore all of you as parents. Please, you must be there. It's specially designed to assist you to help your child to become more well-rounded and to help you to balance yourself in the way you relate to them. There are some critical matters that are to be addressed, so we want you, when you get the information about the time, that you be here. Okay, parents? Wonderful.
I thank you very much, parents. I think the turnout eventually wasn't bad, and we will share the video link in the group so that you can share it with those parents who are not here. And please remember the important things. When everything we said was important, but remember exams coming up. Remember talking to the children about the discipline and remaining focused, abiding by the school rules, and holding themselves accountable for their performance. Thank you very much, parents. All right, and the books, the literature books for those students. How many students you have doing lit? Lit students, those students who are doing lit, you can't do lit if you're not reading the book. So make sure that they have the lit books, those students who do literature. All right? And we also have Mrs. Wallace, you speak about that magazine. We have a 60th anniversary magazine. Mrs. Wallace, you should have given away a few. If you wanted people to buy the magazine, you should have given away a few today. So we have a 60th anniversary magazine that speaks about the history of the school and some highlights from the last 60 years. They are still on sale for $2,000. So parents, you can buy one, especially if you're a past student, make sure you buy one. All right? Right, give away one, Mrs. Wallace. I agree. Thank you very much, parents. Have a good day, everyone.